Hey, how's it going? Today we're doing NFL Week 7 in review. First game up is the Unk Bowl, Rodgers vs. Flacco, Bengals Steelers. Both Unks go off with the Bengals barely being the Steelers. Interestingly enough, Aaron Rodgers throws 2 interceptions, which he has only done 24 times in his career. And with 247 games started, that's only about 10% of the time that he's ever thrown for 2 interceptions. Other notable players are Jaylen Warren with 127 rush yards and 31 receiving yards. Obviously Joe Flacco with 342 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jamar Chase went off 16 catches, 161 yards and 1 touchdown. Great game from him. Jordan Battle with a sneaky good game, 5 tackles, 1 interception. Pat Freiermuth with an amazing game, 5 catches, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. Longest catch, 68 yards. Great game from Freiermuth, and it was also an overall great game from both teams. The Great Unk Bowl. Now let's get on to a not so great game for both teams, the London game, Rams-Jags. Jags fans, I guess don't listen to this part. Great game from the Rams overall. I mean, Matt Stafford went off. His yards are nothing to write home about, 182, but he passed for 5 touchdowns that game. Then you look at Devontae Adams, 35 yards, nothing crazy. 3 touchdowns, that's pretty good. Cam Curl had a pretty good game, 10 tackles. Nate Landman had a great game, 9 tackles, 2 sacks. Byron Young with a pretty good game, 2 tackles, 2 sacks. Trevor Lawrence didn't have a terrible game, 296 yards, 1 touchdown is pretty alright. It's just that his QB rating was pretty bad at 79. I mean, you can get all the yards you want. 296 yards, that's a lot, but if it doesn't translate into touchdowns, then it doesn't really matter. The Jaguars' shining spot was Travis Hunter with 101 yards and 1 touchdown. So congratulations on your first career touchdown, Travis Hunter. But back to the bad news. 0 sacks, 0 interceptions, 0 forced fumbles from the entire Jaguars defense combined. They have to fix something there. The Jaguars ended up falling to the Rams 35-7. Well, on to the next game, and this one isn't very pretty either, but the Titans fans are used to it. Patriots-Titans. Patriots 31, Titans 13. Drake made as great as always. He had 23 attempts, 21 completions, which is a 91.3 completion percentage, which is an amazing completion percentage. 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 146.96 QB rating, which is an amazing QB rating to have. I also want to point out my boy Josh Dobbs. 1 attempt, 1 completion, 100% completion percentage, 12 yards. I'm sure I'm going to massacre his last name, but Keyshawn Bouillette, 2 catches, 55 yards, and 1 touchdown. Pretty good for 2 catches. Flavon Chesayan, which I'm pretty sure I mispronounced that, but I remember him on the Jaguars. I know who this is, I just don't know how to pronounce his name. But great game from him. 3 tackles, 2 sacks. One of my favorite running backs right now are Ramondre Stevenson. 88 yards, 1 touchdown. Great game out of that guy. And the Titans overall with a pretty bad game. Their only notable players being Cam Ward with 255 yards and 1 touchdown. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, but fellow rookie Chimray Dyke with 4 catches, 70 yards and 1 touchdown. Not a bad game out of him. And Cedric Gray with 10 tackles. Notably after the game, Tyler Lockett had requested and received his release, in which I assume he's going back to Seattle. But I wouldn't mind seeing this guy in Green Bay. As a Packers fan, I would welcome that with open arms. On to Saints-Bears. Bears moved to 4-2, 26-14, whatever. Lame. I mean, it's the Saints. The Saints are really bad. Spencer Rattler sucks. I don't know why they ever started him. I assume it's because they're tanking for Arch Manning. For the storyline. You know, Archie was drafted by the Saints back in, I don't know, whatever, the 70s, and Arch Manning gets drafted to the Saints in 2025. Anyways, yeah, the Bears win, whatever. Boo! Panthers-Jets ends 13-6. I thought it was funny because on Twitter, the Panthers tweeted like they lost, which, you know, only beating the Jets by 7 isn't really that great. The Jets are the worst team in the league right now. Rico Dowdle, 17 carries, 79 yards. Also, 1 catch, 17 yards. So, alright game out of him. No touchdowns, but not every game can have 200 yards in it for the guy, you know? J.C. Horn, great game. 1 tackle, 2 interceptions. The quarterbacks, Andy Dalton and Bryce Young, did alright combined. The Jets are disastrous, man. Tyrod Taylor threw 2 interceptions straight to J.C. Horn, I guess. I mean, this is just a bad team. Will the Jets win a game this year? Yes. Will they deserve it? Probably not. But I don't assume they go 0-17. That's just not gonna happen. Hopefully Tyrod Taylor can lead them to a win, as I do really like Tyrod Taylor. He's been one of my favorite quarterbacks ever since he was with the Bills. On to another terrible, terrible game. Chiefs 31, Raiders 0. Man, Geno Smith absolutely sucked, only thrown for 67 yards. They had to bring Kenny Pickett in, and he didn't do much better. 8 yards only. Ashton Johnson got completely shut down with 21 yards. Just nothing that the Raiders did worked. No sacks, no interceptions, no forced fumbles. I don't know what you do as the Raiders. You're just terrible. On the flip side, the Chiefs did great. Patrick Mahomes, 286 yards, 3 touchdowns, whatever. Rashee Rice with 2 touchdowns and 42 yards. Great for him, I guess. And I just hate seeing the Chiefs win. And yes, I am being a hater. But this next game is fun. Browns-Dolphins. 31 Browns, 6 Dolphins. You gotta understand that we might be witnessing one of the worst teams to ever play football. At least out of the teams that were expected to play good. I don't know if you bench Tua and start Quinn Ewers for the rest of the season, but I think he did better than Tua in this game. 53 yards out of 8 attempts for Quinn Ewers, which is alright, I guess. 5 completions, 62% completion percentage. Not a great game, nothing crazy, but you look at Tua and he had a horrible game. 100 yards, 3 interceptions, 26 QB rating. Horrendous game out of Tua. Horrendous game out of about everybody on the Dolphins. I mean, 82 yards for A-Chain is alright. 5 carries for 11 yards on Ollie Gordon is pretty bad. D. Eskridge was starting for the Dolphins, former Seahawk. I remember that guy. I mean, what do you even do as the Dolphins at this point? You have nothing. The only win you have is against the Jets, which the Jets are terrible. I mean, that one of the teams was gonna end up with a win that they didn't deserve in that game. Quinshon Judkins, amazing game, 84 yards, 3 touchdowns. Ronnie Hickman, 2 tackles, 1 interception. Rayshawn Jenkins, 3 tackles, 1 interception. Tyson Campbell, 2 tackles, 1 interceptions, and he returned it for 6. Overall, pretty good game from Cleveland. The Dolphins suck. One of the worst teams that I've ever witnessed play. At least out of the teams that have had expectations. You know, the 0-16 Browns, we all knew they were going to suck. The Dolphins were supposed to be a playoff team this year, and they just simply aren't. On to the next game, Eagles-Vikings. Eagles 28, Vikings 22. Great win for the Eagles. I don't like the Vikings. Jalen Hurts, amazing game. 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, a perfect QB rating. Saquon didn't really show out. 18 carries, 44 yards. But you know who did show out? Devonta Smith. 9 catches, 183 yards, and a touchdown is great. A.J. Brown finally shows up. 4 catches, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jalix Hunt with his first career interception and also a pick 6. Great for him. Andrew Muckbo with an interception. Carson Wentz's revenge game didn't go so well. 42 attempts, 26 completions, 313 yards. But 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Like I said, you can get all the yards you want. It doesn't matter if you can't score touchdowns. Speaking of touchdowns, the only person with the touchdown on that Vikings team is Jordan Mason on the ground. But Will Riker did really well, going 5 for 5 with his longest being a 59-yard kick. Addison and Jefferson are trapped on the Vikings. Jefferson putting up about 80 yards. 79 is just about there, but whatever. 5 catches, 79 yards. Addison, 9 catches, 128 yards. They couldn't score though, so didn't matter. Too bad for Addison and Jefferson, because they're really good players. It's just that they're trapped on a really bad team. And that's coming from me, a Packers fan. Also, did you guys see that Joe Bart Eagles collaboration? That was interesting, man. Him and LaShawn McCoy. I'll have to watch that video later. And now on to the best game of the week. Maybe the best game. Well, actually, it is the best game of the season. This simply is the best game of the season. Too bad for any of the fans who left early. That's right, we're talking about Broncos-Giants. Now, before we talk about it, I do want to have a moment of silence for Demaryius Thomas. So, start that now. Now on to the game. I mean, the Broncos-Giants absolute cinema is all I can say. 33-32, with the Giants dominating every quarter besides the fourth. By the way, I'm seeing this thing, it's saying, you got a Bo leave. That's Bo Dallas's thing, man. I seen that in Bo Dallas first. Anyways, on to the player stats. Jackson Dart, great game. 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Amazing game from Dart. The loss wasn't his fault. It was really no one's fault. It was just a great game overall. Scatterbo, 60 yards, no touchdown. Wan'Dale Robinson, 95 yards. Daniel Bellinger, 88 yards, 1 touchdown. On to the Broncos stars. Bo Nix, 279 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air. Not to mention 2 touchdowns on the ground. Bo Nix played out of his mind. J.K. Dobbins with 81 yards. Cortland Sutton with 87 yards. Marvin Mims with 85 yards. Justin Stranad with an interception. At least that's how I think you pronounce it. Nick Benito with the QB hit and 2 tackles. I think Nick Benito might be a top 5 edge rusher in the league right now. Nick Benito has been going off lately. And this game he didn't do crazy. But, you know, this is one of the few games that he didn't do much. Nick Benito is a top 5 pass rusher right now, in my opinion. Overall, like I said, best game of the week. I mean, they pulled an Itachi Genjutsu in the 4th quarter. You know, when he points at his throne, that's basically what they did. Anyways, on to the next game where we have Colts Chargers. Colts 38, Chargers 24. Indiana Jones is that guy. He's the MVP. He's my pick for MVP so far. Whoa. Amir Abdullah is still playing. Amir Abdullah is on the Colts. This guy's only 32. It feels like he's a 10-year vet. He's only 32. Wow. I remember Amir Abdullah from when he was a Detroit Lion. Anyways, that was off topic. I can't believe that guy's still in the league. Happy for him though. Danny Dimes, he's got 288 yards, 2 touchdowns, 122 QB rating, 67% completion percentage, 34 pass attempts, 23 completions. JT, 94 yards, 3 touchdowns. Amazing. Alec Pierce, 5 catches, 98 yards. Nick Cross with an interception. Grover Stewart with an interception. That's a big man. Grover Stewart, that's a DT. I gotta see that interception, man. But speaking of defensive tackles, DeForest Buckner, 5 tackles, 2 sacks. Jay Herbo, 420 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions. So, he evened it out in a bad way. Keenan Allen, 119 yards and 1 touchdown. I don't know how to pronounce this, but Chargers 5th round pick Aronde Gadsden went off. Aronde Gadsden had 7 catches for 164 yards and 1 touchdown. All I gotta say is Danny Dimes for MVP. On to the next game. Next game, Commanders 22, Cowboys 44. I'm not going to dwell on this game because I hate the Cowboys. Next game. I love this team. This team is great. Packers, Cardinals. Packers 27, Cardinals 23. Amazing win by the Packers. Phenomenal team. Jordan Love had a pretty good game. 179 yards, 1 touchdown through the air. 4 carries, 22 yards on the ground. Josh Jacobs went off, 13 carries, 55 yards, 2 touchdowns. Romeo Doubs, my boy, my favorite Packer right now, 6 catches, 72 yards. He's always ballin'. Tucker Kraft, 5 catches, 58 yards, 1 touchdown. Quay Walker goes off, 9 tackles, 2 sacks. Micah Parsons, obviously. Well, he was the player of the game. 5 tackles, 3 sacks. Rashawn Gary, 2 tackles, 1 sack. Jacoby Brissett goes off, 279 yards, 2 touchdowns. I always liked Jacoby Brissett. He was one of my favorite quarterbacks back in 2016, along with Tyrod Taylor, RG3, Cardale Jones. Aaron Rodgers is a Packers fan. Brett Hundley. You know, those types of guys. Not to mention Joe Webb, Fitzmagic, and Josh McCown. Jacoby Brissett also had 6 carries for 26 yards. Trey McBride does pretty good. 10 catches, 74 yards, 2 touchdowns. Calais Campbell with 4 tackles. Overall, just a pretty good game. Great win for the Packers. Micah Parsons produced, as expected. He had that big game that he needed, and that's amazing to see. Next game for Sunday Night Football is Falcons-Niners. Falcons 10, Niners 20. Michael Penix, 241 yards and 1 touchdown. Not a bad game out of him. Bijan Robinson with only 40 yards rushing, which is way less than usual. He also had 52 yards receiving, though, and 1 touchdown receiving. So he kind of balanced it out. Jesse Bates with 10 tackles, along with J.D. Bertrand with 10 tackles. Xavier Watts had 9. Caden Ellis had 9. Now on to the Niners stats. Mac Jones. I'm pretty sure he's undefeated this year, Mac Jones. He had 152 yards, 1 interception, 0 touchdowns. Not a great game out of him. CMC had an amazing game, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns. And not to mention CMC receiving for 72 yards. He's really carrying this team right now. Tatum Bethune with 10 tackles. Bryce Huff with a sack and 5 tackles. Sam Okoye-Inanu, I'm pretty sure I massacred that name, but he had 3 tackles, 1 sack. On to Monday Night Football then. First game on Monday Night Football was Buccaneers-Lions. Buccaneers 9, Lions 24. Just a terrible game overall for the Buccaneers. I mean, they performed horribly, and not only that, Mike Evans is now out with a broken collarbone and a concussion. Tyke Smith had a notable game with 13 tackles, 1 sack. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but Servokia Dennis, 12 tackles, 1 sack. Anthony Nelson, 5 tackles, 1 sack. Yaya Diaby, 5 tackles, 1 sack. I guess we can go to Baker Mayfield, had 228 yards and a touchdown, but that's off of 50 attempts, and he also threw 1 interception at a 68 QB rating. It just wasn't a good game for them. Jared Goff, 241 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Jahmyr Gibbs went off. Jahmyr Gibbs dominated this game. Jahmyr Gibbs, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns. Here's a crazy stat: 8 yards per carry. Amon-Ra had 86 yards and a touchdown. Tyrus Wheat had 3 tackles and 2 sacks. But yeah, it was just a pretty much overall domination by Detroit, which I hate to see. I hate to see it as a Packers fan, man. Now on to the final game of the week: Texans-Seahawks. Seahawks 27, Texans 19. Texans have not been doing too great this year, man. Listen to their ground game. Their rushing leader is CJ Stroud, 2 carries, 25 yards. Woody Marks, 10 carries, 15 yards. Bad game out of Woody Marks. Nick Chubb, 5 carries, 16 yards. Which these are terrible statistics, man. I mean, it just wasn't a good game for them either. 9 catches, 98 yards for Dalton Schultz. CJ Stroud, 229 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but it's off of 49 attempts. 61 QB rating. CJ Stroud didn't have too great of a game. Derek Stingley with 1 interception, 2 tackles. Will Anderson, 5 tackles, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble. Kalen Bullock with 4 tackles and an interception. Cooper Kupp threw an interception this game. That's kind of funny. Sam Darnold, off 31 attempts, is 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 80 QB rating. 66 yards on the ground for Kenneth Walker. Zach Charbonnet had 49 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 123 yards, 1 touchdown. He leads the NFL in receiving yards. DeMarcus Lawrence, 2 tackles, 1 sack. Ty Okada, 9 tackles, 1 sack. Uchenna Nwosu, 2 tackles, 1 sack. Ernest Jones, 11 tackles, 1 interception. So overall, just a really good game from the Seahawks. And yeah, that's about it. So go Pack Go. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Watch my other videos. This is the end screen, so you can click on the other video that is probably showing right now. And yeah, thanks for watching, and goodbye.